long is it gonna take them to get all these motherfucking produce? This is episode 7. We still out here getting motherfucking produce by the river. How are you going to say, why is no one asking these questions? Baby, you just got here. You don't know what questions anyone has or hasn't asked. Henry, with everything you've seen, is it really hard to believe that in this place, a toy can talk? Hello, beautiful people. I'm Nikki, and in this video, I will be discussing episode 7 of season 3 of the series From. Now, I have to say, as a day one fan, I got a few gripes. This is definitely the most frustrating episode of this season so far for me. I mean, the last few episodes haven't really been up to par with where I would want them to be, but there were still some good things in them. But this episode, honestly, with only 3 episodes left in the season, I cannot say that the series has redeemed itself from season 2. Even if the last 3 episodes are absolutely incredible, this is a lackluster season. I want to see more of the story happening at night. I want to see more of the creatures. I want the pacing to stop being so brutally slow. It's killing me. And it feels like there's so much unnecessary stuff that's happening and that we are spending runtime on. And I feel like this season being so lackluster really sucks, particularly because I've noticed a lot of new fans to the series. Like, the audience is a lot bigger now. When I started watching, when season 1 dropped, the fandom was not this big. So I feel like that's even more frustrating, because you want shows that you love to get a bigger audience, to not get canceled, to do great when it comes to the numbers and the viewership. But I have heard a ton of people say that if things don't start moving in a better direction, they're done with the show. Like, so many people have said, I binged the first 2 seasons, I hopped in at season 3, but the season sucks, and if it doesn't pick up, I'm out of here. And I would really hate for this show to just end. Like, such good ideas, such a great show. Like, when it's up, it's up. And I got answers I need. I don't want it to get canceled, but it's just so disheartening that the show is getting such traction and the audience is expanding, and they are dropping the ball. Like, oh my God, like, they're dropping the ball. I feel like they are telling the story in the most frustrating way imaginable. Like, there's so much that happens where it's very redundant and there's nothing new. Tabitha been seeing them Nkui kids for ages, and it's literally the same thing every time she sees them. There's no progression. It was so pointless last episode to throw in the Nkui kids for literally like 72 seconds. And again, nothing progressed. There wasn't anything new. It was so melodramatic when we had Victor go knock on Sarah's door and say, I'm going to tell you a story. Like, I got so freaking hyped. Like, oh my God, like, what? Ever since day 1, I've been like, Victor, the key is in Victor's mind. Like, we need to unlock Victor's memory. We need to talk to Victor. So when he came up to Sarah, first of all, it started very melodramatic when he looking at the little paper, counting the steps, going to, dig up something, knock on Sarah's door. We got to go to the basement. We got to build a fort. I'm going to tell you a story. And again, we learned nothing new. It was very redundant. He literally told Sarah the exact same thing he told Tabitha. Like, the audience already knew about Christopher making everyone laugh at a time where people really didn't laugh, and then Jasper, and then he ended up not making people laugh anymore. And we've already been like connecting and wondering, how will Jade parallel Chris? Like, we already knew all of these things. And then the stuff that was in the suitcase that Victor buried really plays no part in, like, who cares that he buried like the little container of cigarettes? Like, we didn't learn anything. Nothing really progressed in that. I'm also one of the very few fans of Sarah. Like, y'all can't get me to hate Sarah. Like, you can't do it. But they really haven't given Sarah anything to do. Yeah, she came in the clutch and she saved Ethan and Julie. She was very much comforting and there for Victor when we needed her to this season. But I was extremely annoyed that we went on that quest into the caves to get Jasper and Sarah wasn't there. Like, why involve her at the beginning of this just to exclude her in one of like a big moment of actually going to get Jasper? And Henry's starting to get on my nerve. I feel like Henry has added nothing. I'm a huge Henry fan. But the way he acted in them caves, getting on my nerve, and the way he just really has nothing to do. He just walks around here. And I was just so hyped when we got to the real world and we got Henry. I thought, it would mean something, add something. So far, it hasn't, which that's not even a huge gripe because Henry hasn't been here very long. But the episode starts off with Victor and Jasper. And this was kind of funny because it's so funny how Victor is like 50 years old, but very childlike. The way he's fussing at Jasper and hitting Jasper and like, you need to talk to me. I know you could talk. Henry knocks on the door, comes in, says how Victor stayed up all night. He's been in this room all morning. This isn't healthy. And it was kind of annoying me how last episode when we got Jasper and told Henry about how he's gonna tell us something. Oh, he's just a doll. This episode, he says the exact same thing. First of all, even if you think it's just a dog, don't you realize you already said this to your son and he ain't listening to you? Like, what makes you think that if you beat a dead horse and say it yet again, that he's going to suddenly say, oh, you know what? You're right, Dad. It's just a dog. Like, it was just annoying me that he was saying the same exact thing. And then I also feel like, Henry, with everything you've seen, is it really hard to believe that in this place, a toy can talk? But Victor ends up storming out, leaving Henry, and he goes to Sarah's house, and he knocks on her door and says, can I go in your basement? I need him to tell me a secret. That moment happens about 29 minutes into the episode, and we literally don't see them again for the rest of the episode. And I said in the previous video when everything transpired with Victor and Sarah, I said that could have literally been one episode. Victor going to dig up the suitcase, knock on Sarah's door and say, I need to tell you a story, and then them said that could have been one episode. Like, the way they dragged this stuff out, the way he knocks on Sarah's door and asks to go in her basement with Jasper 29 minutes into the episode, and then we never see them again. But we spend runtime on Donna and Henry having a drink together, and Henry saying for a split second, I was just thinking, I wish I never came here. I wish Tabitha never found me because it was easier when I thought Victor was dead. Baby, cut all that. Edit that out. Take us back to Victor and motherfucking Jasper and Sarah. If we're even going to get any new information out of Jasper ass when he started talking. But it was just so frustrating to me. And I literally had to make a note of it when I was taking my notes. Like, okay, first of all, we're 29 minutes in. He come knock on Sarah's door and we just don't see them again for the rest of the episode. How long is it going to take us to finally, get Jasper's story? Because they love to stretch something out. They really do. They really do. From has always set stuff up and then not followed through with it. As a day one fan, I'm gonna be honest, at this point, 3 seasons in, that part doesn't bother me. I saw people listing a bunch of loose threads from season 3 alone that they have kind of dropped the ball. And I'm like, baby, if you wanted to list everything from season 1 and season 2, we'd have a whole, that video would be too long. If I sat here and listed every loose thread of something that the show set up and never followed through with through season 1 through season 3, we would be here all day. I'm literally not annoyed with that. I'm annoyed with the excruciatingly slow pace that the series is moving at. So let's get into Elgin. Talk about moving a story along at the slowest pace possible for the longest. First of all, we haven't even gone back to or connected anything with Elgin being connected to this place. Now we done moved on to Tabitha being connected to this place before she got here. But first, Elgin was connected to this place before he got here. Before we ever even jumped on to Tabitha being connected, Elgin had a dream about this place when he was on a bus. He threw up all over Randall. It was very melodramatic. And then nothing ever came of any of that. Somebody in my comments said that Elgin is written like a 10-year-old, and I absolutely agree. First of all, I just was too annoyed with every time I turned around, we was just watching Elgin sleep. see the dead kimono lady, wake up from sleeping, can't sleep, have a hard time sleep. Like, always having that dumbass look on his face. Like, Elgin really wasn't doing nothing, adding nothing. They didn't know what to do with Elgin character. I don't know what the hell. Elgin very much gives 10-year-old, like, Ethan comes off as more mature than Elgin. It's just something about Elgin. Like, he feels like a big dope. Like, he feels... I don't know. But the way we moved along with this subplot with Elgin and the dead kimono lady, where literally all we did, it was like I say, it's like the Nkui kids. We just keep, it'd be the same thing with no progression. He's trying to sleep. He can't sleep. He see the dead kimono lady. He try to sleep. He can't sleep. He see the dead kimono lady. Same thing over and over and over and over and over with no progression. And then after all that time of seeing her, finally she says the first thing ever, either last episode, a few episodes ago, sometime this season, I can't get it exact, but when she reaches out her hand to say, help me, that was the first time she ever spoke to Elgin. Really? It took y'all that long to finally have her say a few words to Elgin after all the times that we've seen him see this dead kimono lady, and again, no progression, nothing moves forward. But in this episode, we see Elgin making something for Fatima. He ends up sitting the camera down that him and Julie found in the basement. And it ends up going off and snapping a photo all on its own while it's just sitting there. And somehow, even though a photo is snapped inside Colony House, it is a photo of the cellar door that is outside that we are familiar with from previous season. And the photo leads Elgin to that cellar door. He gets down there. He's looking around. He opens like this tall, I think you would call it like a chest, like a wardrobe. Nothing's there. He goes to leave. And I really felt like the From was probably saying, baby, do I have to spell it out for you? Yes, From, you do. It knocks because Elgin is about to leave. He moves the wardrobe and he finds this red door and discovers a secret hidden room. Elgin finds a dead body in there. And the dead kimono lady appears and Elgin says to her, is this really where it happened? Presumably in response to something he tells her, obviously, that the audience just isn't hip to. But see, this is what the show does. And it's wearing thin for me only because of how slow it's moving along. I've already said I'm not expecting any answers. The way season 1 transpired, the way season 1 ended, the season 2, it's just questions on top of questions, mysteries on top of mysteries. No dots ever connect. We really don't get any answers. So I'm honestly over that and I'm not really expecting any answers. I'm just kind of along for the ride. But at this point, the ride is making me nauseous. The ride needs to come, like, the ride is on my nerves. So that's it. We don't see Elgin again for the rest of the episode. I am, however, sticking with my theory that the dead kimono lady and Elgin is going to end up in a Sarah-esque story where Elgin is going to do something really horrible under the guise of thinking it is how everyone is going to go home. Of course, that's what the dead kimono lady said to him previously. And I don't know who this dead body is in the secret room. I don't think it's anyone we know. But I still think there's going to be a huge massacre at Colony House. And I think Elgin will be involved. I think, like I said, I think Elgin, Fatima, and Randall will cause a huge massacre between the Colony House and the clinic. And I think it'll all happen in the same night. Now, let's get into this cop. Because I literally was just kind of caping for this cop. I was literally just saying how I don't understand how there could be any hate for the cop character. Because she didn't been around long enough to do anything for us to really hate her. Yeah, she killed Nikki. But let's not act like Nikki was like a fan favorite character. Like, she was just a little lower tier background character. Like, okay, she came in, she panicked. She shot Nikki accidentally, but the lady really hasn't been here long enough to really do anything for me to actively not like her character. But boy, they changed all that this episode. When I tell you, I'm so annoyed because I feel like the writers of From are taking, they're reminding me of the writers when I used to watch The Walking Dead. I used to always feel like one of my biggest issues when I used to watch The Walking Dead was the fact that I felt like that show would kill off all of the likable characters and just bring on and add all of these annoying, unlikable characters. Like, can we get likable people to follow? And I feel like From is doing the same thing, because why the hell is this cop here, and why are they writing her in such an annoying way, and honestly a nonsensical way? Nothing with how they're writing the cop makes any sense. Her actions at the town hall diner meeting completely opposite of her attitude and actions this episode. Her previous interaction with Boyd when she goes to make that suggestion of after the town meeting, completely opposite, polar opposite of her interaction with Boyd this episode. Not only are they making her unlikable, it just doesn't make any sense with how they're writing the character. Like, hold on now, who is she? Because she keep acting like a bunch of different people. We end up seeing the cop go by Nikki's grave today, and then she demands the gun. What? What are we doing? The former would suggest she feels some type of guilt by going by Nikki's grave, but then the latter suggests she don't give a F. Like, I'm confused. Like, those actions do not add up for me. Everyone in town has been giving her shit for killing Nikki. I mean, when she tried to say something at that town hall meeting, the town showed her how they felt about her. So why now in this episode is she going so hard against Boyd specifically? Baby, nobody in the town likes you. Everybody in the town is upset about you killing Nikki. So why is it like she's like singling out Boyd? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I just really hope she dies screaming. Like, I need her to die off real quick. Like, I cannot stand this lady. And which is just polar opposite from how I felt about her just one episode ago. But like I said, the pacing is odd for the show. And like, we get a scene of the cop at Nikki's grave, and then the scene just cuts. It's like a 5-second scene, and then it just cuts to Kenny at the diner. And but I don't know. It didn't flow well for me. Again, the writing with the character doesn't make any sense. We see the cop go by Nikki's grave. 5-second scene, it cuts. We see Kenny at the diner, and all of a sudden the cop walks in real hyped up. Why is there a diner? Why is there a sheriff station that looks like a post office? Why is there a travel agency sign? What kind of psycho built this place? Wait a minute, baby. You was just at Nikki's grave. How you came in here hopped up on all this? And then for her to have the unmitigated gall to bust up in the diner with Kenny and say, I want to know why no one's asking these questions. Bitch, you just got here. You literally just got here. Why are you so damn amped up? First of all, I need you to dial it down. But how are you going to say, why is no one asking these questions? Baby, you just got here. You don't know what questions anyone has or hasn't asked. Like, I'm convinced the writers just don't like us. Or me. Because, baby, I'm annoyed. This whole scene and interaction just pissed me off, and I was just annoyed. I want to enjoy my TV time when I'm watching TV. I don't want to be annoyed. I mean, I don't. This lady was pissing me off. Like, and then Kenny, of all people, for her to come say this too. Baby, she chose the right one. Because, you know, Kenny ain't really going to give you no attitude. Kenny ain't going to be mean about nothing. Like, the lady just came in, and Kenny was just all, you want some tea? And I'm just like, Kenny, if you don't get in her ass, because how dare you say, why is no one asking these questions? Baby, I'm trying not to yell. Like, I'm trying to just be calm. I'm trying to be calm. But baby, you literally, like, who has the nerve to say, why is no one asking these questions? You don't know what questions anyone are or aren't asking. You just got here. You fresh. You fresh over that tree. Like, you fresh in the town. You need to calm the hell down. Like, she got on my last freaking nerves. But Kenny goes to say, you know, it's different. And I feel like I was annoyed with the response Kenny gave her as well. Because the way it came off, Kenny acting like we just ain't doing nothing and we just slided down in through the town. No, baby, that's what them background townspeople doing, who we be seeing walking up and down the street all day with nothing damn to do. But the key players are still asking questions and trying to figure stuff out and trying to get out of here and traipsing their ass into the woods every time they can turn around. But Kenny goes to be like, you know, it's different when you first get here. You think you're going to be the one to figure it all out. You think you're going to be different from everyone else and you have the answers and you're going to get home. And I was annoyed with the cop response of, what's wrong with that? But Kenny goes to tell her, you'll eventually realize every question you ask, someone else has already asked that question. Every theory you come up with, someone else has already thought of it. At some point, you either adapt or you lose your mind. I just want to know, why are we making the cop so unlikable? Why are we writing her like this? She ends up upset in this whole conversation with Kenny. And this is why I'm like, all of the... Preceding this with her going to Nikki's grave makes this even more nonsensical. Because not only is she on a tirade about why nobody asking these questions, but bitch, you don't know what questions anybody asking. She also is upset talking about Boyd taking her gun, and she mad and she yelling at Kenny. She walking around in a damn cop uniform still. And Kenny goes to say, you know, we got fresh clothes at Colleen house. I don't want your fresh clothes. I don't want your tea. Why is she acting like this? He's literally just trying to help you. And I don't know why the hell you walking around in that cop uniform anyway. I just felt like he's trying to let you know everybody thinks they're special, but you're not. You're here just like everyone else. And you need to accept the situation. Like, he's trying to literally just help you. Even if it ain't the help you want. Just her having an attitude and going off on him. Going to Nikki's grave. The person you motherfucking murdered. And then following that up with going off on a tirade about why nobody asking questions. And going off on a tirade again about Boyd taking your gun. Bitch, what you need a gun for? I'm sorry. Let me start calling this lady a bitch. Like, I'm just so annoyed. I'm just so annoyed. The gun is useless here. The gun only works against other human beings. So again, I ask, what does she need the gun for? And not only does she just want the gun, I mean, she gung-ho about getting this gun back. I mean, like psychotic level. You can only use the gun against other humans, not the monsters. So why are you so gung-ho and adamant about getting this gun back? Now in the scene, the radio started playing music, which... I felt like it wasn't just the lyrics. I feel like this was a song that had something to do with the cop. Because typically, anytime this radio plays a song, it has something to do with the character. But I also thought it was weird that Kenny literally broke this radio last time I saw it. And now it's like not broken and playing music. But the bus driver comes in as the cop is storming out, and she goes to tell Kenny, I thought I could talk to you about reopening the diner. And then the scene just cuts and we don't see them again for the rest of the episode. And this the bullshit I be talking about with the writing. Why are we spending runtime on the bus driver coming in talking about reopening the diner in her 30-second scene, but we don't go back to Victor and Jasper going into the basement? Like, we got more important things to be spending runtime on. I just don't know what we're doing. Boyd gets to the sheriff's station, and it looks like the place has been ransacked, and the cop comes out the back. When I tell you I wanted Boyd to pimp slap this lady, who the do you think you are? Walking up in somebody else's place, rummaging through their things. And she has such a... I wanted... Victor over violence, okay? But I wanted Boyd to stomp this lady out. Like, I ain't even... I'm sorry. I wanted Boyd to stomp her out. We know we ain't seeing that box again, but I wanted Boyd to just lock her ass outside in the dark for the month. Like, the attitude that she had about a gun. If the writers wanted there to be some type of like headbutting, friction, questioning Boyd authority, fine. But to do it at the catalyst of the cop talking about she want her gun back, this is nonsensical. This is stupid. The gun can't do nothing for you but kill more people. Is that what you want to do? She comes in there, I want my gun back. You took my gun. I want my gun. I'm a real cop. Pull out her little motherfucking back. Bitch, let me calm down. Because the way I would have been, oh my God, because she goes to talk about how he like run around here like a fake sheriff, but she a real cop. I am so disappointed in Boyd. Because I wanted him to really go off on this lady. Like, I needed him to go off on her in an epic way. I needed him to smack her. Like, the way she got in his face. Like, baby, don't get in his face. I wanted Boyd to really, like, yeah. Is it just me? It's probably just me. It's probably just me. I can't stand this lady. Like, I need her to die screaming. I need her to die slow. I don't think I've disliked the character this bad in all 3 seasons of From. The characters that I dislike the most would be Jim, Randall, Tabitha. Nobody is on the level of this cop. Literally, after 1 episode, she's at the top of my list. I need her to motherfucker. And I don't want her to just die. I want her to die slow. I want her to die screaming. I want her to suffer. Boyd pissed me off because she keeps demanding her gun. She's taking shots at him about how, from what she hears, he's doing a pretty shitty job of, like, you know, keeping people safe. Which, like I said, baby, the attitude, the personality, the character as she's written in this episode is just so different from how she previously has presented. It's not adding up for me. The last interaction with Boyd, when she made that suggestion that he went off on her, she didn't give no kind of pushback. She, like, nothing about her has given any type of, like, having this massive attitude that she suddenly has because of the motherfucking gun. Like, baby, this is not the United States of the USA. You have no rights to bear arms. This is the From. Sit the f down and shut the fuck up. I just don't understand. Like, I really need y'all. Let me know in the comments. Am I missing something? Like, is it just me? Why do you want a gun which is pointless against the monsters? It is pointless against the From and any of the terrors that we face in this hellscape. Literally, is pointless. It is only useful against other people. Why do you want the motherfucking gun so bad? Boyd pissed me off though because she gets all in his face. She has this whole attitude. He reveals his hiding spot behind his picture on the wall and hands her the empty gun. And I don't like the fact that he said, I'll give you the bullets once you, like, prove. No, boy, I could have sworn, y'all, am I missing something? I could have sworn it was a town rule that nobody is allowed to have a gun except Boyd and his deputy Kenny. And, you know, we let Victor do whatever the hell he want to do. Victor had that gun on him. But I could have sworn no one in the town is allowed to have a gun. So why would we even say that to her? And even if people in the town were allowed to have a gun, after the attitude she just displayed, why would he say that to her? Am I tripping? I just did not understand it. Boy, disappointed me. Now let's get into my next character that I can't stand, which is Jim. Jim is out collecting more produce. How long is it going to take them to get all these motherfucking produce? This is episode 7. We still out here getting motherfucking produce by the river. And one of the characters is like, I can't wait till we don't have to come out here no more. Well, y'all been getting vegetables. How is time passing in the From compared to the series? Like, we're on episode 7. How many days have passed since episode 1? Because what if they still out here getting these motherfucking vegetables? And literally, again, like I said with the writing, we're still getting more dialogue about something banging around at night that's different from the night creatures. Baby, this is redundant. This is redundant dialogue. It's given we ain't got nothing. It's given filler. Because why do we keep rehashing the same stuff? Is it me? Like, am I crazy? I was so frustrated with this episode. I found something I liked in every single episode this season except this one. This had to be the worst episode. Baby, give me back season 2 for this bullshit. Like, give me back season. And I was so frustrated with season 2 that I was proclaiming I wasn't even gonna watch the show no more. But here I am. But I feel like this had to be the worst episode of the entire series. Because what were we doing here? Why did we have these background characters with Jim say the same bull? We already know this. Stuff been knocking around out there since Kenny and Jim was out here, man. Like, we literally just keep rehashing the same shit. Jay, Tabitha, and Ethan show up. And I was so confused by Jim's reaction. What the hell? What the hell are y'all doing here? What's going on? What the hell is going on? Where's Julie? Calm down. Like, they're not allowed to be out here? They can't come by the river? Like, I was so confused why Jim was so like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? Where's Julie? It's the middle of the day. Are you asking me where the hell is Julie? That's your daughter. Like, I was just so confused. Like, since when do we keep tabs on Julie all through the daytime? I feel like to write such annoying characters that do and say such nonsensical stuff, it really amazes me. Was I the only person confused why Jim was so amped up at Jay and Tabitha and Ethan coming out here? Like, since when is this area forbidden? Like, I missed something? What is the big deal? So the other two little background people head back to town, and everyone else stays out here. We see Ethan and Jade together because Tabitha and Jim done went off to have a private conversation. But they're out here, and Ethan is wondering, like, who do you think lived out here? What do you think happened to them? Which, I'm be honest, I ain't even putting much stock into what the hell we doing, because is it gonna be any rhyme or reason? It's kind of like how I said we were never going to even circle back or mention, like, we would never get anything about the bottle tree that we were driving to in the real world when Tabitha flipped out. The show does that, y'all. Like, I know y'all like to sit around with a magnifying glass and dissect every little frame and every little word, but baby, we ain't never went back to that bottle tree. And I can name 100 other things that we never went back to. I'm not putting a lot of stock into who was out here, what happened to them, whatever the hell. Like, if they give it to us, they give it to us. But I'm not putting a lot of stock into spending time on Ethan saying all this. But I was annoyed with Tabitha and Jim little conversation. Because why are we sitting here trying to prove to Jim about her having dreams about this place before she got here? Like, that was confusing me. And I don't understand why Jim even stayed out here. Why do you need her to prove anything to you? They ain't doing nothing dangerous. Take your ass back to town. Like, why did you even stay out here? Like, I was just so confused. Because wasn't that his plan to come get vegetables and get away from her? Because they had that stupid ass fight that we wasted runtime on. Jim is pretty much trying to talk Tabitha out of her own mind. Talking about, you know, everything that happened. Maybe there's a part of you that just wants all of this to make sense. And Tabitha is just like, do you think I'm making this up? Why are we going through this? Why are we even having this conversation? Jim ain't got nothing to do. I just don't even know why. Like, what is the point? Let's say she is making this up. Let's say she didn't have this dream as a child. Why does it matter? Why she can't come out here and stand by the motherfucking rocks? Like, what does that hurt? Like, I'm so confused why he feels like he has to convince her that she never had this dream as a kid before she got here. Like, and it's really annoying me how close-minded the people in this town of all places are. A road led us to a place we cannot escape. We have electricity seemingly from nowhere. Creatures come out at night and kill us, and we have no defense against them. Julie, Mariel, and Randall were in a trance, coma, dream state, screaming their lungs out. A voice calls you on the phone that is not plugged in, claiming to be your dead son. But Tabitha dreaming about this place as a child is somehow, now that's the impossible thing? A toy being able to talk, now that's the impossible thing? Like, I'm just so confused. Of all people in all the land, I would think the people in the front would be the most open-minded. Like, if I told you the cow talked to me, you should believe me. If I say, Dad, I went to feed the animals and the goat started telling me a story, you should be like, oh shoot, what story did the goat tell? You shouldn't believe any motherfucking thing if you live in this town. Like, I'm so confused on why they still be acting like it's so far-fetched. We have Tabitha, Jim, Jay, Ethan by the big red rocks. And Tabitha is like, I can still remember the fear when I was running. And Jim was like, let's say you did dream of this place. I'm just like, Jim, if you don't shut the fuck up. He had the nerve to say, okay, let's say you did dream of this place. How does it help? Jim, how are you helping? How does it help? How does it not help, Jim? Like, Jim, just shut the fuck up. How does anything Jim does help? But he got the nerve to... Jade ends up telling Tabitha that dreaming about this place as a child, she was destined to come here no matter what. Like, things would always lead her to that road with the tree in the road. But I really feel like, y'all, what was the point of this scene? See, this is what I'm saying. All my gripes with the writing, it's just really coming to a head with this episode. What was the point of this? We learned nothing new. Again, it was more entertaining watching the nightmare that we actually got to see as opposed to watching Tabitha rehash the nightmares that the audience already saw for what, Jim and Jade? And y'all, is it just me or is the lady that played Tabitha a really bad actress? Like, I'd be annoyed every time she opened her mouth. Like, I'm so sorry. I don't know that lady. Like, no disrespect to that lady. But is it just me or Tabitha can't act? But what was the point? Like, again, the From loves to rehash stuff. and not progress anything. We already know everything that Tabitha sat here and rehashed for Jim and Jade. Now let's move on to Julie and Randall, which I feel like was just more filler. And apparently we got some kind of flirtation thing happening between. Baby, how old is Randall? Because Julie's a motherfucking teenager. Ain't Julie about 16? How many years they been here since season 1? Because I could have sworn we got here and Julie was like 16, child. And ain't Randall a grown ass motherfucker? I feel like Randall gotta be 30 years old. He look it. Julie is staying at the clinic because her whole family, is out at the river. And she says the house is creepy by herself. So she ends up following Randall into the woods. They chatting, blah, blah, blah. And Julie goes to talk about how she ain't never gonna get her learner's permit. So he takes her to get that van at Colony House so they could drive. Now, just as she goes to say, when do I get a turn, Randall is about to let her drive, but the bugs appear. Randall sees them, Julie does not. And I'm confused why he turning on the windshield wiper trying to kill the bugs. He's swatting and stuff. Randall, your grown ass. This is why I first of all said Randall grown ass can't be mad at Boyd in no shape, way, or form for what happened to him out there with the monsters. Baby, you again falling for these fucking bugs that you know are not really here. Like, yes, I get it. Sensory, like they are real to him, but baby, you know they're not really here. So why are you about to wreck out the motherfucking van when they literally attacked you and suddenly disappeared when the creatures was around you? Like, you know this is something that this place is doing to you. I was just so confused why he attacking bugs that he know are not there. He stops the car. He falls out, flailing his arms because of the bugs. And Julie is like screaming at him. Because she can't see what's happening. But he end up yelling at her to go home. And he runs off into the damn woods. Julie follows him. They come across like that archway. Which, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I think this is the archway with like the dungeon. And Julie is all, I feel something here, and wanting to go close. But Randall is like claiming he don't feel nothing, which I feel like is a lie. But he's just like, can we just go back, please? Since when the hell do Randall say a motherfucking please? I think the bugs appeared so that they could come to this spot particularly. But I still think Randall will let the creatures into the clinic and cause a massacre. But I will say, I thought he would do it intentionally. Maybe he won't do it intentionally. Maybe he gonna see them bugs and start flailing his arms and knock the talisman down. And that's how the creature's gonna be able to get in. Because I feel like if we don't have Christy and Marielle, we really gonna be in dire straits. Those are our only medical professionals. So I just still feel like there's some reason Randall is now staying at the clinic. Or maybe there isn't. Because, child, I don't know. If you ask me, the writers is making this shit up as they go. I mean, that's just me. Now, let's get to Marielle, Christy, Fatima Boy, and Ellis having the ultrasound, discovering that there is no baby inside of Fatima. I wanted them to ultrasound her whole fucking body, like a full body scan. But they're trying to figure out what the situation could be. And Christy goes to say there's something called a hysterical pregnancy. Now, I have heard of a phantom pregnancy. I saw an episode of SVU where this lady, her stomach got big and everything, but she wasn't pregnant. It's called a phantom pregnancy, where like your body or your mind thinks you're pregnant, but you're not. But Christy goes to say, well, there's something called a hysterical pregnancy where the body thinks it's pregnant. And she goes to say that Fatima very well could have been pregnant, but Fatima's just like, no, I can still feel something. And I am annoyed at how I feel like we're not really listening to Fatima, because she keeps telling them, I feel something inside of me. There is something inside of me. And they even bring up Boyd having those worms in his veins that nobody could see. We already know that we have a situation. First of all, like I said, I don't know why we just don't automatically just believe anything in this place that people say is happening to them. But we know Boyd has something in him nobody could see. I feel like we should be on 911 red alert. There is something in something in Fatima. It's how I feel like everybody should be acting right now. We can't see it the same way we couldn't see the worms. But baby, there's something in Fatima and we should be scared. Like, there's something in her. I don't understand why they not registering like there is something in Fatima. Right now what they feel like is because they want Fatima to stay at the clinic, but she's all, I want to go home. And she runs off to Colony House. Ellis follows her. Marielle decides to stay at Colony House to start an IV. Boyd and Christy stay behind and they're having a conversation. I was so annoyed with Christy because Christy had an attitude with Boyd for not giving her all the information. And when he goes to say, well, it wasn't my place, she had the nerve to say, oh, now you want to stand on principle or something like that. Since when, baby, if y'all don't get off Boyd back, for real, I want Boyd to be like, what you mean by that? Because when the hell has Boyd not been on the up and up? I don't care what nobody says. Even keeping a secret about Sarah, Boyd ain't never doing anything unless he feels like he doing the right thing. Like, Boyd does not intentionally do anything like to hurt anybody. He does stuff for the betterment of everybody in the town. I didn't like this attitude she was having with Boyd, but whatever the hell, child. But Boyd is just like, okay, you want to be mad at me? Yell at me, whatever. Now what are we going to do? So pretty much right now we're at the place where we feel like either there is something growing inside of Fatima that nobody can see, or this place has finally gotten to her head and it's making her think she's pregnant. And Chris is just like, I don't know how to figure out which one it is. Baby, I love when Boyd was like, then do your motherfucking job and figure it out. But I just feel like, I don't know, is it just me? I feel like I would be operating 98% under the assumption that there is something growing inside of Fatima. And we just can't see it. The same way Boyd had worms in his blood that nobody else could see. I just don't understand why we don't believe this stuff. So Marielle and Fatima are at Colony House, and Fatima just keeps having this attitude that is nothing like Fatima. You know, she's throwing stuff. She's cursing people out. Nothing like Fatima. Marielle is trying to just, trying to comfort her. Like, I know how it feels to be violated by this place. You know, I still feel them bugs inside of me sometimes. But Fatima is just like, there ain't nothing like this. You don't like, just has an attitude. Just an attitude. And Fatima and Ellis have a conversation. Again, I kind of feel like this is all just wasted runtime. How long have we spent seeing Fatima be sick and there's something inside of her and she pregnant? I've been saying from the moment she was pregnant, child, that she wasn't pregnant. But whatever the hell. Like, again, just, I don't know why we got to sit through this whole thing with Fatima and Ellis. But she's upset. She's saying how no one believes her. She asks Ellis, does he think this is just in her head? And she goes to say how she's been measuring her stomach every day and it's growing. And I'm just like, baby, you're a toothpick. Like, I don't see nothing growing. But, like, I believe you, though. I believe there's something inside of you. But, baby, you're a toothpick. Your stomach hasn't grown. She goes to say how her cravings are getting stronger. She's angry all the time. But this is also why I say they're annoying me. Like, I feel like Fatima is literally screaming out for help. Like, she's telling you these cravings are getting stronger. Like, how much more, like, of a red flag do we need? And she goes to tell Ellis, if there is no baby in there, then that means it's just me. So we end up seeing Boyd and Donna, and he's pretty much telling Donna everything that has transpired. And Donna goes to say, like, while we're trying to figure out whether this is just in her head, like, Boyd's wife type of situation, or if there's actually something inside of her, like Boyd's worm situation, Donna don't think that they should be staying at Colony House, which, yeah, Donna, absolutely. But baby, y'all ain't getting her the hell out no time soon, so I don't understand what we doing. Why are we not making haste? Because Donna is pretty much like, well, we don't have to do it like right now. I'm just saying, no, she don't need to spend another night in Colony House. Like, I just don't understand why are we not literally just taking every precaution. Like, I feel like we should be at the extreme. Like, we're in the from. No, we end up seeing Tilly and Ellis. And I'm, again, like I said, I'm a fan of Sarah. I've been a fan of Tilly. Everybody been on this whole Tilly mode. First of all, the From don't need a mode. Like, it's the From. But I have literally always said Tilly is just a baddie old lady. Like, she is just a regular old person that ended up here just like everybody else. I have always said that. Tilly and Ellis are in the kitchen, and Tilly is trying to ask Ellis how Fatima is doing, and she goes to tell him, you don't have to pretend. She told me about the rotten food, about the cravings, and she's telling him, look, I realize you don't know me very well, but if you need anything, I'm here. And Ellis kind of looks really shocked. Kind of shocked that maybe Tilly knows all of this and Fatima told her. But then he goes to confide in her himself, and he's like, we did an ultrasound. Christy looked, but there was nothing there. I don't want to lose her. And I feel like that was this big thing of, oh, how could Tilly know she was pregnant? But, baby, we're in the From. The From be telling all kind of people all kind of things. Like, I feel like we're in this place where we're constantly manipulated, whether we know it or not. Like, she had a feeling that Fatima was pregnant. It could have just been the From giving her that feeling that Fatima was pregnant. Like, I'm just like, child, Tilly ain't never been nothing but a baddie old lady. But Ellis is just going on about how he don't want to lose her. And Tilly is just pretty much trying to encourage him, like, you haven't lost her. And goes to tell him a story about, you know, why she isn't scared of death and scared of this place. And we end up seeing Fatima in a room by herself. And she goes to scratch at the IV and there's like a bruise there. She ends up throwing up. She ends up screaming in pain. And her stomach starts to like suck in like she's emaciated. Like she's turning into a creature, which I've said from the beginning. And Ellis comes in as she's screaming for help and her stomach looks normal. I don't think this is a situation where, oh, Ellis comes in, her stomach looks normal, so that wasn't real. I think it very much is real. I said in one of my other videos when Randall was like, what is real in this place? Like, that's why I'm like, I really feel like we're still operating as the real world when it comes to logic and what's real. This is the From. Whatever the From says is real. What these people are seeing and experiencing is real. Like, that is literally happening to Fatima because her body don't want no IV. Her body want blood, rotten vegetables. Like, that's what her body want to be eating. So it's like sucking in on itself. It's making the craving stronger for her to push her to go get what her body wants now that she's transforming. But this ends up pushing Ellis to go try to steal some drugs. And Boyd happens to come in as him and Christy are getting in this argument and are, you know, going back and forth. And Christy is trying to tell him these are powerful antipsychotics. You have no idea the damage they could cause, the effect they could have. Boyd is able to get Ellis to put the stuff down and leave. But he's just like, what should I be scared of? Like, I saw what happened with, you know, his mom and et cetera, et cetera. And he's watching Fatima fall apart right before his eyes and all of this stuff. Now, we end up seeing Fatima. Now, and I gotta say though, I was annoyed with Ellis, but I ain't even finna get much into it because literally he was just fussing at his dad about sitting around doing nothing, and now he's like, Dad, don't let this happen. Okay, whatever. I'm not even finna get into that. Fatima ends up going into that little greenhouse thing and going for the bucket of rotten produce with the door wide open. I'm still confused on how she be sneaking, eating stuff out in the open. First of all, when Tilly saw her, she was out in an open area. Now she's in here with the door wide open. Girl, do you know how to sneak? This ain't how you sneak. But she tries, like, she goes to pick up the bucket, but she puts it down and doesn't eat. But then she ends up kind of screaming in pain because that's what her body wants. That's what her body craving. Tilly comes in and she's like, you're not alone. It's going to be okay. And what I thought was going to happen was she was going to just bite into Tilly and eat Tilly ass. But instead, because she's kind of yelling at Tilly to like leave her alone, she stabs Tilly. Stabs Pola Tilly. Tilly was just a nice, baddie, kooky old lady. And Ellis walks in and she's like, Ellis, what have I done? And this is why I was like, why were we not like, just, I feel like we were so cavalier about what's going on with Fatima. The second we saw wasn't no baby in there, we should have been taking motherfucking precautions. Now, Tilly's dying words to Fatima was, you have to run. And I feel like, of course, Tilly know this wasn't Fatima. Like, there's something going on with her. And I personally, when Tilly first says that, I was just kind of like, wait, what? But I think Tilly is saying that so that the town doesn't turn against Fatima. I think she wants Fatima to run and get away from her dead body so nobody knows she did this. Are y'all finally ready to give up on Tilly being some kind of mole or being evil? Or do y'all think Tilly not really dead and y'all not giving up on it? But that was the end of this very filler, lackluster episode. We just rehashed stuff. We don't learn anything new. Nothing really progresses. I guess Kenny don't want revenge no more. I guess Boyd not gonna capture a creature no more. Which baby, he could just capture Fatima at this point. Tabitha got out and got us what? Henry? And that got us what? I really can't say I have any hopes for the next 3 episodes. I still have my theory that we're going to have a huge devastation, a huge massacre. We're going to lose a lot of key characters. That's my current working theory. But like I said, even if the last 3 episodes are absolutely jaw-dropping and phenomenal, when it comes to which seasons were my favorite, I would put season 2 above season 3. I would. I feel like this has not been a great season. I think it started off well, but we really lost a lot of momentum. But let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about season 3 of From? And let me know, are you a day 1 From fan? And are you still hanging on and have high hopes and still loving the show? Are you a new From fan? And are you ready to give up? Are you ready to give up on From already? Let me know. I want a temperature check in the comments. How are you feeling this far into season 3 of From? Are you excited? Are you still on board? Is your interest waning? Are you getting annoyed? Do you hate that motherfucking cop character like I do? I feel like anytime we see that cop character, I want them to just be playing NWA F the police. Like every time she come into the motherfucking frame of the show, just play that song. Because baby, when she pulled out that bat, the way I would have smacked that thing out of her hand, like I really needed Boy to get in her ass. Like I wanted Boy to go off on her. Because who the hell does this lady think she is? The way I would tie her to the bumper of a car and leave her for the monsters, like I can't stand that lady. I can't stand that lady. But was it just me? The way they have written her character just doesn't make any sense. But thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I will be going live Thursday to get more in depth in discussing From so far and all of my thoughts and theories, and really just breaking everything down and getting more in depth with the whole From conversation. So I hope to see you Thursday night for that. Look out for that in the live tab. If you are enjoying my From coverage, please stick around on the channel. I have lots of other content coming up. Horror movie reviews, TV show reviews. I covered season 1 of the Apple TV series Silo. If you would like to check that video out, I will also be covering season 2, which is about to start soon. And in the next few days, I will have my video up for everything you need to know about Silo season 1 for you to get prepared and get into Silo season 2, as well as I will be starting a retro rewatch and review series. I posted a poll asking you which show should we go back together on, and you guys chose Breaking Bad. So we will be doing a rewatch of Breaking Bad, well, my first time watch. So we will be doing a members only watch along of the episode, and then we will be doing a public live discussion of each episode starting with season 1. And we will also be doing a members only rewatch and live discussion of the Penny Dreadful series. So that will be members only for Penny Dreadful watch along and live discussion. And as well as I have my Mads movie review coming up, and my Speak No Evil 2024 remake, that review will be up for members only. What else do I have coming up? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Y'all, it's a ton of content. It's a ton of content already on the channel. It's a ton of content coming up on the channel. I will be posting my video for Time Cut, the new Netflix teen slasher that just dropped, that I wasted my life on. But if you are not, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure you have your notifications on. Comment on the videos, like the videos, share the videos. And if you haven't, check out channel memberships. I have 4 tiers for you. So low tier, high tier, whatever fits your budget, whatever fits the perks that you are interested in. Make sure you check that out. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next one.